welcome to my 200,000 subscriber Q&A extravaganza! Woo! I'm super excited to finally have hit 200,000 subscribers. I couldn't have done it without you, and even you. So thank you for following me, everyone who's subscribed over the years. I appreciate you. I got a lot of questions to answer, so I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm just gonna go ahead and pour myself a glass of, well, I know I should have champagne for a fancy celebration like this, but, well, it is Cinco de Mayo today. That's the day I happen to be shooting this, and I am out at the Death Valley compound, so I'm having a ranch Rita, which I'll have to do. Why don't you make yourself a drink too? Salud. Okay, one thing I should note before I get started is if the audio sounds weird in here, well, that's because I'm in the submarine. I'm in my basement bunker. I'll go ahead and give you a peek behind the scenes here. How do you like that? I set up a backdrop against the wall there. I put up my lights. I'm sitting in my captain's chair on top of my fancy new fake oriental rug. So that's the setup. It's limited space down here. Obviously I don't have all the swag and drapes and everything hung up, so it still sounds very echoey and strange, as if I'm in an interrogation chamber, which I guess I kind of am, because I'm about to answer 73 very intimate probing questions that you sent me. That's right, I got 73 emails. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna try to answer every question as briefly and succinctly as I can. Cheers. Oh wait, one other thing. I did decide to get dressed up for the occasion. Unfortunately, it's just way too cramped in here for me to give you a full length, but I'm wearing a fabulous orange evening gown that I got at a thrift store with this amazing, I think, fabulous paste jewelry that I bought at the swap meet in downtown Los Angeles. How about that? Eat your heart out, Liz Taylor. Okay, I have my laptop here on this little side table next to me, and I have all the emails pulled up that I got for this Q&A, so I'm just gonna go ahead and open them up one at a time and answer them in the order that I got them. So the first one I have here is from Joe C. He says, have you ever been to the Appalachian Trail before? No, I haven't. It's something I am interested in hiking, sort of, although I don't know, from what I read, there's a lot more crime and murder on the Appalachian Trail than on the Pacific Crest Trail. So if I was gonna do a long through hike, to be honest, well, I might go with the Pacific Crest Trail. Okay, question number 2 is from Wayne. Wayne says, will you marry me? Oh, Wayne, I'm not the marrying kind. I mean, I'm only wedded to my fake costume jewelry. In all reality, I've never been married. I don't think I ever will. I'm just too independent. Okay, the next question is from Tracy P. Where is the SR-71 crash site that I visited in a video a couple years ago? Well, first of all, it wasn't an SR-71, it was an A-12, which was the prototype of the SR-71. And I couldn't just give you that answer, Tracy, because that would be cheating. That would take all the fun out of it. You gotta jump through all the hoops like I did in my video and find it for yourself, because that way it's much more rewarding. But I will say this, the people who built that monument to the crashed A-12, well, they have a website, and if you watch my video, I reference the website at least a few times, and if you go to that website, I didn't realize this at the time I made my video, but apparently they have the GPS coordinates posted on that website. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Tracy had a second question. Have I ever seen anything out there in my travels that I could not explain? I've had this question a bunch of times, and no, I haven't, unfortunately. I'm totally open to the supernatural and aliens and all that stuff, but unfortunately, I personally have never seen anything that couldn't be explained by, well, science or alcohol. Cheers. Okay, the next question is from Kim, from a woman. She wants to know, and this is funny because she's not the only one to have asked me this, how do I create my eyebrows and what products do I use? Okay, guys, fellas, it's probably going to be a boring question for you, but guess what? That SR-71 question might have been boring for the ladies. So here's one for you, gals. I use MAC Cosmetics on my eyebrows. First of all, you've all seen me with no makeup. I have no eyebrows, so this is all fake. It's all just drawn on, but I try to use longer lasting stuff that won't just melt right off in the Death Valley sun. Basically, I use a little pot of gel with an angled brush, And it's just artistry. You just got to draw it on. Okay, the next question is from Peter B. He wants to know, he said he'll skip the will you marry me one because I already know the answer. Plus, I'm only the 200th to ask. Actually, you're only the second to ask. He just wants to know if I ever plan to travel to or do any videos in Australia. Yes, absolutely. I mean, he even suggests I do a Wonder Hussy Down Under series. Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to go to Australia forever. And in fact, I sort of had plans to do so just before COVID. But unfortunately, well, we all know what happened with COVID. So yes, I do have plans. Not concrete plans, but I'm definitely going to get there one of these days. Okay, next we have Leanne. Hi, Leanne. Leanne wants to know, is my mom going to come visit me and my sis at our compound here? Well, yes, of course. We've invited her. It's hard for her to travel. She was having car problems. Her car's in good shape now, but, well, it's probably too hot for her down here now. So maybe in the fall, we sort of have tentative plans to have everybody over here in the fall. So hopefully my mom will come visit us then, because I do actually think she would like it out here. It would be very different for her. And Mom, I know you're watching this. But it would be good for her to be outside of her comfort zone a little bit, and I do think she would really like it. Leanne also wants to know if I'm going to Burning Man if it happens in 2022. And well, the answer to that is, you bet your sweet bippy I'm going to Burning Man in 2022. I'll see you there. Next question is from Mark Z. Mark wants to know, what cell phone booster do I use and why? And what navigation do I use when my cell phone doesn't have signal? Okay, I travel around a lot to areas where there's no cell signal. So what I usually do is I go ahead and download you can go on Google Maps and download a map ahead of time. So that way, even if you don't have signal, you can still navigate around. So like say I was going to the area around Tonopah. Well, you put in Tonopah. There's a little thing that you push, download map, and then you pick however big of an area you want to download. And then it saves it right to your phone. So that way you can navigate even when there's no signal. That being said, as long as there's a teeny tiny bit of signal, I am able to use my WeBoost. That's the brand of cell phone booster I use. It was $500. I guess it was worth it. You do have to have a little bit of signal in the first place for it to work, but it has come in handy many times. So I would say I recommend that product, although if Starlink becomes available as a mobile product and it's not so big and clunky to carry around and not so expensive, well, I might get one of those. Okay, next question is from Nick C. Nick asks if in my adventures I've ever seen something that I'm reluctant to talk about. Well, Nick, let me ask you this. Do I seem reluctant to talk about anything? I'm not. No, unfortunately, I've never seen anything. I guess his point is, like, what if I saw something like I saw a Sasquatch and I was afraid people would think I was crazy if I said anything about it? Well, obviously, I'm not afraid of people thinking I'm crazy. I'm sitting in a basement submarine in the middle of Death Valley, okay? Does that answer your question? Okay, the next questions are from John B. And John B has some very kind words to say, some nice compliments. Thank you, John. He wants to know if I've ever been offered work in the mainstream media as a host, correspondent, or whatever. Well, unfortunately, no, because I sure as sugar would have accepted it. Mainstream media stays way away from me, and well, I'm not really sure why that is. I mean, John goes on to say how eloquent I am, what a good vocabulary I have, I'm always using the right word at the right time. I feel like I would make a pretty good mainstream media host, but, well, maybe it's because I have the word hussy in my name, it scares them off, or, well, maybe they just don't like my armpits. Who can say, but I've never been contacted by mainstream media. And then his second question is really interesting. He wants to know, out of all my 200,000 subscribers, there have to be some notables in there. Are there any that you know of, even if you don't care to name them? So basically, like, are any notable people following me? Famous people? And I don't know. I mean, I've never gotten any emails from anyone famous that follows me, but I have actually wondered that, you know, like, these actors and actresses, singers, they get bored and they watch YouTube too, and I'm sure a lot of them love the desert. Like, for instance, Eric Burdon from The Animals. If you ever listen to The Animals, you know, there is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, or spill the wine, dig that girl. You know, Eric Burdon, well, he's a big desert dweller. He loves, I think he had a place in 29 Palms. So just as an example, if he was watching videos about the desert, he might have come across my channel and, well, who knows, Eric Burdon might be watching this video right now. Okay, that was totally a random example, but Well, you get what I mean. So, John, I don't know if anyone notable is watching my channel other than you and you and you and you and everyone else who's watching, because in my book, you're all notable. My next question is from Mr. Tab, and Mr. Tab doesn't waste any time getting down to basics, and I appreciate this about Mr. Tab. By the way, he goes by Mr. Tab because he loves Tab soda. He's a Tabaholic, and he's even sent me some cans of Tab, 2 of which I'm never supposed to drink. I'm just keeping them because they're going to increase in value since they don't make Tab anymore. But the other 2 he sent so that my sister and I can have rum and Tab. And he even sent me a bottle of rum and some limes so we can have rum and Tabs. I'll be honest, Mr. Tab, I almost drank a rum and Tab while I was making this video, but I thought, nah, I'd rather do that when I can sit and really savor it. Anyway, Mr. Tab, in his usual earthy way, wants to know, where and how do I poop? And I'm fine answering questions like this. I assume you mean when I'm out in the field camping and not when I'm at my house because, well, I'll be honest with you, here at the Death Valley compound, we do have a septic tank and a flush toilet, so I poop just the way anybody else does, and generally in the morning. When I'm out in the field, I don't carry a bucket or any kind of cumbersome mechanism like that. I just carry a shovel and I dig a good old-fashioned cat hole, which I'm very diligent about making at least 6 inches deep. Next question here is from Jumbo Jack. Jack's a little late to the party. He noticed in my 150,000 Q&A video, he saw a dog bed in the background, and he wants to know if I have a dog, what's its name, and why don't I take him with me in my videos? Well, Jack, I did have a dog, but when I moved to Death Valley, I gave the dog to my roommate because I traveled around so much when I lived in Vegas that my roommate really took more care of the dog than I did, and he actually grew very close to the dog. I would say fell head over heels in love with the dog. The dog's name is Freddie. Oh, Freddie, I miss him, I really do. He was a very sweet little dog. I'll put a picture of him in this so you can see what he looked like. But he's very happy living with my roommate now. My roommate just sent me a picture of him the other day. Fred's doing well. He wouldn't like it out here anyway. It's too hot and there's too many coyotes. Next question is from Kevin V, whose caps lock is stuck. So he wanted me to know he's not yelling, but everything is in all caps, but that's because his key is stuck. Hope you get that fixed, Kevin. He wants to know if I've ever heard from anyone who lived in any of the abandoned cabins or trailers I've looked at. And that's a really good question. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I feel like I've definitely gotten tips from people on places that I've gone. Like, there's this one viewer, I don't know if you're watching this, Nan, but I have this one viewer who is lives on a ranch, and it's remote Nevada, so I guess all the ranchers kind of know each other and know each other's business. So she's filled me on a couple places that I explored, like told me the backstory. But the people themselves that lived there, I don't think that's ever happened. I did explore Paul Watkins, a guy that was a member of the Manson family. I explored his old house, which is not too far from where I live now. And, well, he passed away, unfortunately. But somebody who was with him when he passed away, I guess a good friend of his, she emailed me and told me she watched the video, and I was kind of afraid she'd be mad at me for poking through his old abandoned house, but I didn't say anything disrespectful about him in the video at all. So she seemed pretty cool. She was pretty friendly. So I guess that's about the closest I've ever come to having that happen. But oh my gosh, I'm totally open to it because a lot of times I explore these abandoned places and I'm so curious what happened. And well, most of the time it remains a mystery, which I guess that's kind of fun, but I don't know. Sometimes having the answer is even funner. Next, Dale K wants to know if I'll ever do a paranormal tour. Well, probably not, because I'm not really that big into the paranormal. I'm open to it, like I said a little while ago. I've just never seen anything, well, like I said before, that can't be explained by, oh gosh, I don't remember what I said, science or alcohol. I mean, some of these paranormal channels, I feel like they're hitting the sauce a little bit too hard. Or maybe they're just trying to get views. This next question is from Kathy, and she sent it 4 days ago, before I posted my last vlog. She wanted to know how Noonie, my cat, is. Well, Kathy, you probably watched my video that I posted. Maybe you did. Noonie went away to live at a vineyard in Napa, a winery. She didn't seem to be very happy here. When she lived in Vegas, she had a doggy door that she could just kind of come and go, and she would cruise around, like prowl around the neighborhood. Here, she didn't really feel comfortable prowling around because of all the coyotes, and it's real windy, and opportunity came up. A friend of ours knows people who own this beautiful winery in fabulous Napa, California, and they take in cats, and well, they offered to take in Noonie, and it seemed like a good opportunity for Noonie. So Noonie is now living the high life on this winery, vineyard, up in Napa. So if you ever go up to Napa wine tasting, tell her I said hi. Okay, the next question is very perceptive, from Sherry. Sherry wants to know if there are people that I have had in my past vlogs that I've fallen out with. Why, Sherry? Why would you ask that? And Sherry even goes on to name a couple names, which I won't say in this video because I don't want to drag people's dirty laundry in public, or air people's dirty laundry in public. The short answer is yes, Sherry. I have had some falling outs. And, well, I just didn't want to talk about it on YouTube because even though I know it would make really compelling content in both cases, really there's only two that I can think of. They would be amazing videos. I mean, if you want to talk about spilling the tea, if you wanted to have a tea party, I could have an amazing Wonder Hussy tea party. But, well, one of those people has threatened to call the police if I even talk about him on YouTube anymore. And the other one, well, let's just say sometimes it's best to let sleeping dogs lie. Hope that answers your question, Sherry. Oh, wait, she also wants to know if I've ever found myself broken down with no cell signal. No, thank goodness I haven't yet, and that's because I try to stay on top of my car maintenance so that doesn't happen. Especially when I'm traveling in an area with no cell signal. Now, I did recently have an experience where I was in Death Valley, in a very remote part of Death Valley, with no cell signal, and I noticed one of my shocks was leaking. And I thought I could probably keep driving with it like that, but I decided to go back into town, and then when I got back into town, a lot of people told me, oh, you could have stayed out with a leaky shock, it just would have meant you had a bumpy ride. Well, come to find out, when I went to get that shock rebuilt, it wasn't just leaking, it was totally snapped off at the top. So I'm really glad I listened to my intuition and aborted mission on that trip and went home. So even though people acted like I was a wuss for doing so, I think I made the right move. Next question is from Mike R. And Mike wants to know, why do I like being alone? You know, I'm always saying I want to be alone, and I don't always want to be alone. I'm a very social person. I love parties, cocktail parties, dance parties, desert parties. I'm going to Burning Man. I'm going to be hanging out with 80,000 people up there. So I love my public time, but I think I'm an introvert at heart. I know I was very, very shy growing up. In fact, I was very shy until I turned about 23, because when I turned 23, my sister turned 21, and we got her one of those old-fashioned liquor carts where you have all the bottles of booze and glasses and you wheel it up and make cocktails. So that's when I started drinking. I didn't start drinking until I was 23. And that really helped me. They call it the great social lubricant. Well, it helped me open up and become more comfortable talking to people. And it really helped me with my shyness to the point where I don't need alcohol now to not be shy. I've successfully changed my personality to be outgoing and extroverted. But that being said, I'm still introverted at heart. Sometimes you want to be alone, man. You want to be out in the middle of the desert where there's not a single solitary soul for 1,000 friggin' miles, okay? That's why I want to be alone. Okay, the next question is from Mike P. And he wants to know, what inspired you to stop your previous career and start a YouTube channel? How did you decide what your content would be, and did I do it cold turkey? Well, Mike, some of you probably already know this. I used to work as a nude model in the desert around Vegas, so I was always taking photographers out into the desert to these creepy old abandoned buildings and old ghost towns and cool places to pose for pictures. Well, I kind of was getting tired of modeling, and I was getting too old to model. And I started to get more interested in the exploring and looking for new locations than I was in the modeling anyways. So I kind of fell into YouTube by chance. I was driving home from Burning Man, and I happened to pass by an abandoned building that looked way too interesting to not stop. So I went in, and it was an old abandoned brothel. And for whatever reason, I decided to make a video instead of just take photos that day. Normally I would just take still photos. Well, that day I took a video, like, what is this place? And I threw it up on YouTube just for funsies, and I got all these crazy emails from people that were like, oh my God, you should make more videos like that. I didn't know people liked watching videos of people exploring abandoned places. In fact, right after I left that abandoned brothel, I drove like not 20 more minutes down the road. There was a whole abandoned ghost town with a casino, old abandoned casino, 20 minutes down the road from this abandoned brothel. So I had made a video there too. Those two videos kind of got me started. And so I put them up on YouTube. Didn't think too much of it until, well, Google paid me. I mean, I didn't make much money off of them, but it was still like, oh, I could make a living doing this. I wonder if I could ever make enough money doing this to where I could stop modeling. Because I had it in the back of my mind anyways that I was getting too old to model. And I know some really beautiful older models, and I know you can model well into your 40s, 50s, 60s. I just didn't want to be that one sad old bag running around trying to hang on to her glory days, you know what I mean? So I'd rather bow out gracefully while I'm still ahead-ish. So thankfully it worked out. I was able to transition from modeling to YouTube. I did both for a couple years, and then I finally did my last photo shoot as a model in January 2019, I think was the last time. That was it. Ever since then, I've been 100% YouTube. Next question is from Bill. He wants to know, after living in a no income tax state, which is Nevada, why did I buy in California, especially a place where the tap water isn't drinkable? How much research did I do on my desert compound? Well, Bill sounds like he's shaming me, and that's okay. I'll take all the shame. Well, we did quite a bit of research on this compound before we bought it. When I say we, I really mean my sister. And she was living in California already anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal to her, I guess, to move to California. And I was already living so close to the California border that it didn't really bother me either. Yeah, it does suck that we can't drink our well water, but I was drinking the tap water in Vegas for 11 years, and I'm sure that was terrible for me. Vegas has one of the top 5 worst tap waters in the United States. There's uranium in it, okay? There was a rocket fuel plant explosion back in the 80s, and that contaminated the groundwater in Vegas. So if I drank Vegas tap water for 11 years, it was stupid. I should have been drinking bottled water all along. Moving out here forced me to start drinking good water, so I actually look at it as a net positive. I mean, I suppose if the shit hits the fan and we have to live in this bunker and, well, then we won't have our own drinking water, that'll suck. But, well, I'd rather drink my well water with its elevated levels of fluoride and borates than have no water at all. So I still feel like I'm in a better place than most city dwellers. And as for why I bought in California after living in a no income tax state, I don't know, man. I'm from California. I was born in California. I love California. Do I agree with all of California's policies? No, but I feel like if everybody just leaves, then you're gonna let them win. Someone's gotta stay here and fight and bring the old California back. I'm not a quitter. Okay, next question is from Jay. Jay says he's 17 years old, almost done with high school, getting ready to go to college. That's awesome, Jay. You're probably the youngest person who watches my channel. I appreciate it, thank you. Not that there's anything wrong with older people. I love people of all ages. I'm just saying, that's cool. Jay wants to know if I've ever been to the Midwest and did I like it. He's talking Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. Well, yes, I have, Jay. I went on a cross-country RV trip with a really good friend of mine who's from Southern Illinois. And so we drove across the country. We came up through Missouri and we went to where he lived or where he was from in Southern Illinois. And I won't say the name of the town, but I spent quite a bit of time there and it was cool, man. The only thing I didn't like about it was I had a burrito. And the way y'all make burritos back there wasn't like the burritos I was used to, but it was still okay. And yes, I would definitely consider going back. I mean, there's a ton of really interesting stuff in the Midwest. Oh, I actually drove through Iowa as well when I drove cross country. During the pandemic, I drove to New York with a friend, and we passed through Iowa and stayed the night there in Davenport. And it was cool. I liked it. We went to the world's biggest truck stop in Iowa City, I think, on I-80. Oh my God, that was one of my favorite places I've ever been. So I love the Midwest. I'll definitely be back. Jay sent me a link to this amazing looking abandoned hotel in the middle of the woods near where he lives. And it looks pretty cool. So gosh, I'm gonna have to pin that on my map and well, maybe I'll be going to Illinois sooner than I thought. Oh, and Jay also wanted some advice on how to start a YouTube channel. He wants to start his own channel. People ask me that a lot, and my biggest piece of advice is be consistent. It's a lot of work. I spend at least 80 hours a week working on my YouTube channel because I make 2, sometimes 3 videos a week and they're long. But man, you got to put in the hours. That's the key to success. I mean, I think since I started my channel, I've been posting every single week. I have never once missed a week. If I'm sick, if I'm traveling, it doesn't matter. I plan ahead, I upload stuff ahead of time, and I never miss a week. I think that's one of the key factors to success on YouTube is you got to keep feeding that beast every single week. And then people will start to follow you. The next question is from Mike Z, and he's just starting, or he has a YouTube channel that's starting to grow. It says most of his content is about his 4x4 Astrovan. I'm all ears. I've always wanted a 4x4 Astrovan. Those Astrovans are cool. They're like a little minivan, so it's not as big and pretentious as like a Sprinter van, or doesn't stand out as much. It's just a little minivan, could be a soccer mom, but they're very capable, and apparently some of them are 4-wheel drive. So I'd love to check out some of your videos, Mike. He wants to know how open I am to being interviewed for other channels. Well, if you're asking me if I want to be interviewed for your channel, sure. I don't know how we're going to do an in-person interview because it looks like you live in LA, but we could do it on Zoom or Skype or something like that. So yeah, for sure. Hit me up. I'm all for it. I feel like the more channels I go on, the more subscribers I'll get. And well, I'm hoping to make it to that 500K mark eventually. Okay, next question is from Marty. And it's a really sweet question. She wants to know what my skincare routine is. What moisturizers do I use? What sunscreen? She says I have beautiful skin for living in the desert. Listen, Marty, I appreciate that because I've really struggled with my skin for my whole life. I really struggle with acne. So I'll take all the skin compliments I can get. What is my routine? Well, I never, ever, 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 never go to bed without washing off my makeup. And I just use natural soap. I have a viewer who made me some homemade soaps. I use that for the most part. So nothing's really special in the way of cleansers, but I do use a ton of facial products. Throwing pennies into that fountain of youth, as Martina McBride once said. I use, for a moisturizer and sunscreen, I wear sunscreen on my face every day, and not only on my face, on my ears, and my neck, and my chest. I just use CeraVe, which you can buy at Walmart, and it's like 13 bucks a bottle. I think it's only like SPF 15 or 30. It's not super high, but seems to be working okay. And then I use like a beta hydroxy acid for exfoliating. It supposedly takes off the dead skin cells, unclogs your clogged pores. Well, obviously that doesn't always work for me. Well, you probably can't see right now because I have these lights shining on my face for a reason. But yeah, my forehead is kind of broken out again. And it's just hormones, man. I have started using the clay, bentonite clay from the hot spring here. Just as a natural mud mask every morning, and that really seems to help for my problem because I have oily skin. Sounds like you have dry skin, mud probably wouldn't be good for you because it's very drying. CeraVe moisturizer, man, and then I use a Korean eye cream that's like 75 bucks for a little jar. It's kind of pricey, but that's really the only expensive product I use. Just homemade soap and water and mud for the rest of it. And then she wants to know if I do home workouts to stay in shape. What's my exercise routine when I'm stuck at home or it's too hot outside? Well, unfortunately, I don't work out at all anymore. I was very diligent about lifting weights and working out when I was working as a model because obviously I had to be naked. Well, I guess I still have a bicep. Look at that. I had to be naked all the time, so I had no choice but to constantly be doing squats and curls and this and that. Well, when the gym shut down for COVID, unfortunately, I used that as my excuse to stop going. Because I'll be honest, I worked out and lifted weights for probably about 15 years. 15 years. Very faithfully, every week, at least once, twice a week. But I hated every second of it. They go, oh, you'll eventually get into a routine, you'll enjoy it. I never enjoyed it. It was torture. I had to drag myself to the gym each and every damn time I did it. So when COVID closed the gym, it was like, whoopsie, can't work out anymore. So I used that as an excuse. Of course, I realized that these muscles aren't going to keep forever, so I try to just do corny little stuff throughout my day, like while I'm brushing my teeth, like I'll clench my abs or clench my butt cheeks and like just hold that, I guess they call that isometric exercises. Or like anytime I have the chance to take the stairs instead of an escalator or an elevator, I do that. If I have the option of walking somewhere rather than driving, I'll do that. But that's really the only exercise I get anymore other than hiking. I still bang out a good hike or two every now and then. And well, that's really the only cardio I get. And since I'm not exercising, I'm very mindful of that. And I know I'm not burning as many calories. So I just try to be real careful with what I eat and drink. Okay, here's a good question from Ralph. Ralph wants to know what really pisses you off. Well, I'm pretty sure anybody who watches my channel regularly can think of at least one thing that really cheeses me off. And that's Mylar balloons. I really hate seeing Mylar balloons because they end up blowing away. They get caught in these wind currents and trapped in Death Valley. And I've been hiking in the most remote parts of Death Valley where hardly anyone goes, and I found Mylar balloons wadded up stuck in creosote bushes because they just come drifting in from LA and they get stuck, and it takes them forever to degrade if they ever degrade. So yeah, Mylar balloons piss me off. Okay, next question is from Misty. Misty wants to know, if I had to start all over with a different car, what would I choose? Well, I would still choose a Toyota 4Runner. I mean, I'm assuming you mean the current car. I've only had 4 cars in my life. My first car, I had a Nissan Sentra. My grandma bought me, very kind of her, bought me a old Nissan Sentra when I graduated college. And that was a great car. And to be honest, if I had it, it'd probably still be running to this day. But it wasn't fancy enough for me, so I got in an accident and then traded it in for this giant pink 1986 Lincoln Town Car, which was totally impractical, but I drove that around for about 7 years and loved it. And then when that broke down, I got a white pickup truck, a Ford Ranger, and that was great. Pretty capable car, but it wasn't 4-wheel drive. I wanted 4-wheel drive and something I could sleep in. So I got my fourth and current car, my beloved Toyota 4Runner. And so if I had to start all over again, I'd definitely get a 4Runner again. I can't say enough good things about the Toyota 4Runner. It's rugged, it's durable, it's dependable. I just go in and get the oil changed and, all the recommended maintenance, and it, knock wood, seems to be running just fine. The only thing I would do different is I don't think I would get the lift that I have. I have this weird lift and these racing shocks and these giant wheels, and I feel like it's too much for me. These high-end racing shocks have to be rebuilt every 30,000 miles, and that's a pain for me. So if I had to do it all over again, I'd get a 4Runner, but I'd probably just keep it stock for the most part. I might get a little bit of a body lift, but I'd just leave the shocks alone, and I wouldn't get any big crazy wheels either. I don't think any of that's really necessary to get cool places. It comes more down to driving technique than it does, being the biggest and the baddest with the highest lift. Okay, Julie has a bunch of compliments and questions. Thank you, Julie. She says, I'm super funny. Did I ever do any stand-up comedy? Oh my God, a lot of people have asked me that, and I've always been curious to try that. I mean, I have huge respect for stand-up comedians, and I love watching stand-up comedy, but I don't think I'm that quick-witted. Like, you have to be so fast on your feet. So, yeah, I've considered it, but to be honest, I don't have the balls. Like, to get up on stage in front of a room full of people and try to make them laugh, ooh, and then if you fell flat on your face, ooh, it'd be horrible. Then she wants to know how I find my adventures. Do I watch other people or read about them? Yeah, both. I mostly read a lot of stuff, and people send me tips. I get a lot of email tips from people saying, hey, have you ever heard of this place? Or, hey, you should check this place out. And that stuff I appreciate hugely. So if you have a tip that you want to send me of a place I should check out, don't hesitate to email it to me at wonderhussy@gmail.com. And then she wants to know, what's my favorite backyard flower or thing to eat? Do you mean backyard thing to eat? I like blackberries. I mean, there's a lot of blackberry bushes growing up where my mom lives, and I love picking and eating fresh blackberries. Oh, it's so good. Favorite backyard flower? Well, here in Death Valley, we only had one flower really in our backyard. We had a paddle cactus that bloomed for about 3 seconds a month ago, and it had this beautiful magenta flower. It was awesome. So, well, I guess that's my favorite because it's the only one we had. Next question is from Joanne. She wants me to address the cat controversy I recently went through. Okay, I made a video about 4 months ago with Noonie, the cat I was just talking about. We brought her out here. We let her stay in the house for about 2 months, but then we're like, okay, it's time to give her a gentle nudge and put her outside. She needs to start going outdoors. Remember, she was an indoor-outdoor cat in Vegas, and she spent most of her time outdoors. Well, I put her out. The very first morning I put her out, she freaked out. She tried to climb back in, and I shot footage of it because I thought it was funny. That was the very first time I tried to put her out. Okay, she didn't do that every time. Well, I got all these people trying to kill me, basically. I think I maybe did get death threats because of it. And at first I was really freaked out, oh my God, what am I going to do? All these people are going to kill me and unsubscribe to my channel. Well, then I realized that no, the people who follow me know I'm a good person and I would never be intentionally cruel to a cat. Those people weren't really subscribers of my channel. Apparently what happened is somebody shared the link on a PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, message board, and so a bunch of those people came in and just spammed my channel, which I understand. They're very passionate about animal rights, but I just decided the best way to deal with it was just to ignore it, and it would just go away. And guess what? It worked. Except for apparently not, because Joanne said she's still thinking about unsubscribing. And Joanne, if you want to unsubscribe to my channel, I completely understand. Hey man, it's up to you. It's your conscience at the end of the day, and I can't do anything to convince you otherwise. By now you know that I gave my cat to go away to go live at this winery, so, well gosh, you've probably already unsubscribed, or maybe you think that's cool. I felt like it was a cool move to make because it was in the cat's best interest. You might disagree. In fact, I have a feeling you probably do disagree. Anyway, she has another question. She wants to know how I get the courage to go into these desolate, abandoned places. I admire you for that, and thank you for giving us less brave people a chance to see them. Well, thank you for that, Joanne. How do I get the courage? I'm not really scared of abandoned places because I guess once you go in one or two of them, you realize that there aren't serial killers lurking in every abandoned building in the desert, and there aren't rattlesnakes infesting every abandoned building in the desert. Yeah, every now and then, I mean, serial killers, I doubt it. I did see a snake in a building once, so you do have to be careful of stuff like that, but for the most part, stuff really isn't that scary as they make it seem on TV or on other YouTube channels. And a lot of that comes down to editing. Like, the next abandoned place I go to, I guarantee I could edit it two different ways. If you put creepy music and shoot it in a way, oh, what was that? You know, you can make anything seem scary. I just don't like to pander to people's fears. Life is too short to live it in fear. You know, the world isn't that scary of a place. This is against my best interest in saying this, but turn off your TV and go outside. You'll see for yourself that, well, things are a lot better than they seem on the TV. Okay, now a couple questions from Phil in the UK. Hi, Phil. He said, do you think you wasted a few years doing casino photographer work for so long? Yes, I do, Phil. I worked as a souvenir photographer at Caesar's Palace and a bunch of other hotels for 12 years, and I 100% think I wasted 11 of those years. I mean, it was fun at first, and it was good for me because, remember, I was very shy when I first moved to Vegas. I was very cripplingly shy. But having to go into a room full of strangers, approach them, and try to sell them photos really helped me open up and become less shy to the point where now I'm talking to, well, presumably 200,000 people, and I'm not afraid. So in a sense, yeah, it was a waste of time, but I bet even the rest of that 12 years helped me develop somehow as a person. All that being said, I wish I would have quit. Let's see, YouTube came out in 2005, I think, 2006. I wish I would have started a YouTube channel in 2006 because can you imagine how many subscribers I'd have by now? I'd be doing my 1 million party. Then Phil also wants to know, why don't I ask for permission to visit places like Nellis Air Force Base and do interviews with pilots, etc.? These places usually have a public relations department. You do good interviews, like the impromptu one you did with the NASA chaps during the moonwalk trials at that sinkhole. If you don't remember, or if you didn't watch that one, I was out in the middle of the desert at this giant sinkhole, just this giant natural hole in the desert. I had it pinned on my map, and I was driving out to check it out. Well, when I got there, there was already people there, but they happened to be NASA scientists that were testing out this new lunar rover. And so I interviewed them. They didn't want to be on camera, but their voices, they were okay with me interviewing them. So thank you for saying I'm a good interviewer. I do enjoy interviewing people. I don't know, I'm just, I'm not, I guess, confident enough to approach a PR department because I feel like I'm just some piddly YouTube channel. Like, who's gonna talk to me? I guess I'm afraid of rejection is what it boils down to. See? I am afraid of something. Brian wants to know, well, he got turned on to my videos because I was off-roading up around Gerlach, Nevada. Way up north in Gerlach, Nevada. He was wondering if I had ventured further north into Via, or the Sheldon Wildlife Refuge, or Denio. Well, I've never been to Via, V-Y-A. It's this weird little settlement town on the California-Nevada border, way up towards the Oregon border. I've seen it on the map. I want to go. I just haven't made it up there. I have been to the Sheldon Wildlife Refuge. Loved it. It was beautiful. I went to I think it's called the Virgin Valley Warm Springs up there. And I liked that place, but it was so crowded when I went. I mean, there were so many people there. The camping was cheek to jowl, everybody running generators. It was such an unpleasant experience. I rolled in right around almost sunset, and I found a place to squeeze into the park. And I basically just went to bed and then got up and left first thing in the morning because it was too crowded for me. I would go back maybe after Labor Day or sometime when there was less people there. But I did also drive through the Sheldon Wildlife Refuge all the way north from Soldier Meadows Road to Denio, I guess, one time. And that was amazing. I was with my girlfriend Jessica in 2 separate cars. So we had like a little convoy caravan. And that was amazingly desolate country. I mean, wild horses, pronghorn antelope, not a soul around. Just the kind of place I like to go to be alone. Pardon me. Okay, now we got a really nice couple questions from Michael G. He said he's a big fan. I've helped him cope with the pandemic, which is awesome. Thank you. I think a lot of people started watching me during the pandemic, so hi to all of you. I'm glad I was able to help you pass the time. He says he's watched all my videos at least 3 times, and his favorite is the one with OMG Hot Springs. I appreciate that because OMG Hot Spring was a hot spring that was bulldozed a long time ago. It wasn't even there anymore. So there was a video about nothing. Much ado about nothing. But it's one of my favorite videos too because it was so much fun just trying to find the place where that hot spring was. So thank you, Michael. He wants to know if there's any other YouTubers or celebrities that I would like to collaborate with. I'd love to. Offhand, who do I want to collaborate with? Well, I'd love to go up to Cerro Gordo and meet that guy Brent who does Ghost Town Living. He seems like a very interesting person, and I'm a huge fan of what he's doing up there. So that's one collaboration I'd like to do. Oh, and of course, I'd love to collaborate more with Bob Wells from Cheap RV Living. Bob, he interviewed me for his channel once, and he's just the nicest person. Matter of fact, I ran into him a couple weeks ago at the place where I go get my mail. He happened to be there, and we had a nice little chat, and well, I won't say too much about this, but we might be meeting up again at some point in the future. Oh, I always thought it'd be kind of fun to collaborate with one of these other girl YouTubers, you know, like the Unstoppable Morgan, if you guys have ever watched her channel. I mean, that gal looks wild. And I mean that in a good way. She looks like a lot of fun, so I'd be interested in collaborating with her. Then there's this other chick, or woman, excuse me, named Dr. Hannah Straight. She does a lot of the same kind of things I do, goes to hot springs and old mines. Seems like she'd be an interesting person to collaborate with. So if either of you guys are watching, hit me up. Let's get together. Oh, and then he also wants to know, when is the meet and greet? Oh my gosh. I would feel so awkward hosting a meet and greet because I'd be afraid no one would show up. And then if they did show up, I'd worry that everybody was bored. And I mean, I guess I probably should do some kind of meet and greet at some point. I should have like a desert camp out festival. Oh, Wonder Festival. Festival of Wonder. Well, I'll mull it over, and if I do decide to do something like that, well, you can be sure I'll let you, Michael, know, and I'll let everyone else know too. Now we have a question from Pat C. Hi, Pat. Pat wants to know, when I'm looking out at the night skies, at the stars, you know, I'm out in these dark skies areas, do I ever see a lot of stuff in the sky that's mysterious? Does it appear there's a lot going up on there? Pat, I wish I could say yes. I'm constantly scanning the skies. I really would love little more than to see evidence of some kind of extraterrestrial, UFO, whatever. I'm super curious about that stuff. I definitely believe it's a possibility. And I've said this before in videos, I have totally laid out in hot springs or just by my campfire looking up at the stars saying, hello, aliens. Probe me if that's what it takes. I'm even willing to be probed if that's what it takes to find out there's really life beyond our galaxy, which I'm sure there must be. In fact, one video I was even playing this little musical thing I have, the theme from Close Encounters, you know, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, trying to call the aliens. Man, maybe I'm trying too hard because I have never, and I've camped like on the border of Area 51, never seen anything that couldn't be explained by science or alcohol. I feel like I ought to make a bumper sticker that says that. Next question is from Bradley, who says very forthrightly, how money do you earn from YouTube? How money? I think he means how much money. Well, Bradley, that's not a very nice question to ask a lady. You don't ask a lady her age, and you don't ask a lady how much money she makes from YouTube. I will say that I'm able to support myself. I'm not rich, but I do all right. I mean, I was able to buy this fabulous Death Valley compound and hang out in a basement bunker, so I guess I'm doing all right. Let's just say I'm making plenty to keep myself in rancheritas. And that reminds me, it's time for a top off. Okay, next question is from Robert R. Hi, Robert. He says, he's wondering what my rising sign is, like when it comes to astrology. Unfortunately, I don't know. He thinks I'm either Pisces or Virgo rising. I don't know what my rising sign is, but if you want to figure it out for me, I was born September 22nd, 1976. Okay, now you can all figure out how old I am. So, all my wrinkles. I can't remember the time of day. I want to say it was like 5 in the evening. In Walnut Creek, California, because I feel like you have to take that into account to the latitude where you're born. You tell me. Next question is from Jean H. And Jean wants to know, what's the name of my channel's theme song and where can I find it? Jean, that's a great question. Let me just take a minute to sing the praises of the fantastic guy who wrote my channel theme song. He's actually a Grammy winner. A 2-time Grammy winner. His name is Michael St. Leon, and I put a link to his website in the description of every single one of my videos. It's the very first credit under my credit section. Switchyard Studios. He operates or runs a blues recording studio in Nashville, and that's what he wins his Grammys for, recording all these amazing badass blues albums. Well, it's kind of a long story. We became friends through some other people, and he's written a few songs for and about me. One of them was called The Ballad of Wonder Hussy, and it's a great kind of country rockin' Lynyrd Skynyrd song. Wonder Hussy, unfortunately, the video for it isn't safe for YouTube, because the way I met him was through these two photographers that this photographer and this actor that I used to work with, and we would make all these weird videos. Mike and Kit were their names. Some of you might remember Mike and Kit had a Vimeo channel with some very NSFW content from when I was working as a nude model. Well, Michael St. Leon, he was friends with Mike and Kit, and so that's how we all got together. And then the theme song to my channel, Wonder Hussy, hey, where you gonna go now? He wrote that too, recorded the whole thing. I think he did that for another video that I did with Mike and Kit, but I don't remember what video they made for it. He just told me I could do whatever I wanted with it, so I started using it as the theme for my channel. But anyway, thanks for asking, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to bring up one of the unsung heroes of my YouTube channel, Michael St. Leon, an amazing composer. And if you're watching this, Michael, congratulations on your 2nd Grammy. He just won another Grammy at the Grammys a month ago. Cheers! Next question is from Dale L. And he says, I'm the best and most interesting and intellectual person out there. Wow, thank you. So my question is, why do you think you receive such hate mail? Well, the honest answer to that is I don't get hate mail. I'm really lucky. I've only gotten nasty emails, I think, twice in my YouTube career. One, when I first got my 4Runner, I got a bunch of nasty a few nasty emails, mostly just nasty comments from people because a viewer bought me that car. It was a really exceptional story. I won't go into it, but it was like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, woo-wee. But everybody in the comments was like, how many times did you have to suck his, well, And the reality was I never even met the person or never even talked to him on the phone. It was wild. I know it's unbelievable, but I got a lot of nasty comments on that video. And then, like I mentioned just a few questions ago, when I had that footage of my cat making her go outside, I got a lot of nasty emails and comments on that one. But those are the only two. I mean, I try to be a good person and not disparage the places I go. Like if I go to some weird old town, I don't bag on it and go, would you live here? The hills have eyes. Which if I did, I'd probably have more subscribers on my channel because people like to see people being mean. But life's too short to be mean, man. So I just try to be nice, and consequently, I don't get a lot of nasty emails. Thankfully. Okay, now Brian F. says, it's not really a question, but more on the line of a big thank you. I'm definitely a wonderful hussy, and he just wants to give his heartfelt thanks for my not being a YouTube whore. That's his word. Not engaging in that smash that like button or be sure to subscribe before you go. I appreciate that you appreciate that. I never say that in my videos. I know a lot of people that just, hey, make sure you like this video, hit the subscribe button, smash that subscribe button, blah, 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 follow me on Patreon. I mean, I have links to all that stuff in the description of my videos, and if people want to follow me on Patreon, they're welcome to, and they can figure it out. I just don't want to be seen as, well, they call it an e-beggar, okay? Someone who's constantly out there asking for viewer support. It just seems annoying. I know a lot of people who watch this channel are on a fixed income. In fact, I know a lot of you guys are on fixed incomes, and I appreciate that. I understand. I mean, I make enough money now to where I feel comfortable, but it wasn't always like that. Like, I worked really hard for a long time and didn't make a lot of money. So I completely get it. So I would never guilt anybody into trying to donate money to me, or even when it comes to subscribing or hitting the like button. Like the video if you want, subscribe if you want, unsubscribe if you want. I don't want to come on too aggressively because I've always hated salespeople and the feeling of people trying to sell you something. Like, I'll buy it if I want to, thank you very much. And thankfully, at least 200,000 of you have bought my product, and I appreciate it. Okay, Ethan wants to know when I'm out camping if I've ever seen a Bigfoot. No, again, I've never seen any UFOs, I've never seen any ghosts, and I've never seen a Bigfoot. And I was pretty Bigfoot skeptical. A couple summers ago, I went up to Northern California, Oregon, Bigfoot country to do a little Bigfoot investigating. And as I set up there, I was like very skeptical, like, oh, haha, LOL, I'm just going to go make a video about Bigfoot. But when I got up there and started reading and listening to podcasts and stuff about Bigfoot, I actually became somewhat of a convert. I don't know. I'm very open to the possibility that a Bigfoot exists, and I would love to see one. But again, and I've wandered around the forest. I've skinny dipped naked in hot springs in the forest up there. Like, if a Bigfoot was going to come out and get me, it would have by now. But, well, maybe it goes back to my armpits. I don't know. Okay, here's a question from a local couple, Eileen and Ken. They want to know if they ever see me in Smith's or Home Depot in Pahrump. Smith's is the grocery store I go to, and Home Depot. Would I be willing to take a selfie? We are big fans of all your videos. Yes, I'd love to take a selfie. In fact, I've done so in Pahrump a few times. I have some fans in Pahrump. And I'm always, I feel like it's really crappy when, not to say that I'm a celebrity, but these celebrities you hear about punching people for asking them for an autograph. Those people made you who you are. So I feel like unless they're like invading your privacy, like coming into your house or onto your property, if they approach you in public, I feel like it's just very churlish not to oblige a photo or an autograph. Matter of fact, even if I'm not wearing any makeup and I'm feeling real grungy, I'll still take a selfie. So yeah, if you guys happen to see me at either one of those places, don't be shy. Come on up. And they also want to know if I've ever considered writing an autobiography because my life is fascinating. And yes, I have. I do plan to when I get a minute. Like I said earlier in this video, I work 80 hours a week on my YouTube channel, so I don't have a lot of time to write. But I totally plan to write an autobiography. The only downside is you don't want to hurt people's feelings. I've had so many weird experiences in my life, and I want to be honest about them, but I also don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I almost feel like I have to wait until everybody dies before I write it. Okay, Mark O asks, do you utilize solar power for any of your energy needs while I'm out in remote areas? I do actually. I have a Jackery power bank that I use. And I should note here that Jackery did send me the product for free. But even if they didn't, I would still be a huge fan of their products because they're so easy to use for someone like me who I'm not technical. I don't know anything about electricity. These power banks, though, that they make, they're super easy. You can plug it into your 12-volt charger in the car while you're driving. You can charge it. Or when you're parked, like camped someplace, they make solar panels that plug into them. So I have these big solar panels I use for my Jackery. If I go to a hot spring and I'm going to be there for like a week or someplace where I'm not going to be driving to recharge my power bank, yes, I do use the panels to recharge the power bank then, and it works great. Here's a question from Trail Ahead. It wants to know if I could share any dangerous and or scary / supernatural situations I've been in, and what weapons do I keep with me? Well, I feel like I've already answered the first part of this. I've never really had any scary situations. I think in my last Q&A video, I talked about the only time I was ever even kind of freaked out while I was camping is one time I was sleeping in my car in the middle of nowhere, no cell signal, and my car alarm went off in the middle of the night. So I thought, oh, something bumped against my car. So I got out of the car, looked around. There was nothing there. So I took a whiz and went back to sleep, locked the car, fell back asleep. Woo! Thing went off again. What? Looked out, nothing around. I was in the middle of nowhere, man. There was nothing anywhere. I mean, I was kind of near-ish Area 51, so I thought, could it be aliens? But I more realistically thought, oh no, it's probably some electrical short in my car, and now I'm gonna have to go back to town in the morning and get it fixed. Fortunately, I didn't lock my car again after that, and it didn't happen again. So, well, I've just taken to not locking my car while I sleep, and that resolved the issue. And that's the only creepy thing that's ever happened to me while I was out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe I've just been lucky, or maybe the world just isn't as scary as they make it seem on TV. And as for what weapons do I carry? Well, I wouldn't want to give away all my secrets, now would I? Okay, here's a cool email from Western Mojave David. The typical American life profile is married several times, kids, grandkids, working at a job that will provide retirement, etc. Well, your life seems to be the exception in all the categories. Are you living the life you chose, wanting it to be atypical, or is that just the way it ended up being? Well, I guess I wanted it this way. Again, I never really thought about it, I guess. I mean, I went to high school, and then I graduated, and then I went to college because everybody told me to go to college. And so I went to college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I never really had a burning ambition career-wise. So I moved to Vegas because I thought it would be interesting. And, well, I pissed away several years there, not really doing anything but drinking and partying. I don't know. I always wanted to be something or do something cool and make a difference or make an impact somehow, but I never really knew how or what. And well, then I stumbled into YouTubing, which you can laugh, and it is kind of one of the lower art forms for sure. But I don't know, I sort of do feel like I found a niche of something I enjoy. I can support myself. It seems to bring other people enjoyment. And I mean, I guess I'm making a difference. I do get emails from people from time to time that tell me that I've made a big difference on their lives. And that I find that super inspiring. So did my life turn out the way I imagined it to? No. I mean, I guess I always kind of expected I would get married and have kids, or fall in love, get married, and have kids. Well, I don't know. I never really fell in love with anybody, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I dated some people that, yeah, maybe, but is it love or is it infatuation? Certainly never dated anybody that I wanted to marry, and certainly never dated anyone I wanted to marry and have kids with. So part of that is probably due to the fact that I have a brother who's 12 years younger than me and a sister who's 9 years younger than me. And so childcare duties fell to me a lot of the time when I was younger, when I was a teenager. So I already feel like I had kids. And I got that out of my system. Not that I resent my little brother and sister at all. They both turned out to be wonderful, wildly successful people. And I'm very happy for them. But I sort of feel like, I guess I got that life out of my system. And sometimes, I'll be honest, I do feel like, what am I doing? My life is so meaningless and empty. Like, I don't have a partner. I don't have kids. You know, like I said in my video last week, who's going to change your diaper when you're old? But I don't know. I mean, half of the relationships I see are toxic, and a lot of times kids just ship their parents off to an old folks home anyways, and their diaper ends up getting changed by a home health care worker or somebody who works at the retirement home. So, well, I guess that's your answer. Okay, now a question from Jared, who has a YouTube channel called Currently Rock Hounding. Check him out. He says he's really into mines and mining camps. He says, I'm in an area with such a rich history of mining. Do I plan on doing more videos like that in the future? Well, I have kind of a weird relationship with mines and mining. To be perfectly honest, I don't have much interest in mining myself. And some of you have probably noticed when I go to these old mines, I don't hardly ever even go into the mine shaft. I'm more interested in the mine camp and the little cabins and the wives and families of the miners, how the miners lived, where they cooked their meals, how they amused themselves when they weren't mining. When you go down into mines, well, those videos that I've made going into mines, first of all, they never get as many views as my other videos. It's dark. You can't really see very much. It's hard to shoot. Like, there's typically really nothing down there anymore. These mine explorers have already taken everything. So I'm not really that into exploring mines unless I came upon some mine that no one had been in for a long time. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I don't know. I will, I'm sure, still go to more mines and do more mining videos. But my area of focus will probably be on the mining camps and the areas outside the mine and not so much the stuff inside the mine. Although I do recognize that there's a lot of people out there who like watching that mining stuff. So I keep that in mind, and I try to do a little bit of everything for my channel to keep everybody happy. Some hot spring stuff, some mine stuff, some history stuff, a little this, a little that. So yes, I will continue to go to mines. I don't have any official plans, but, well, like you said, I live in an area surrounded by mining, so I'm sure it'll happen soon. Okay, a couple of questions from Peter from the Netherlands. He wants to know, he said a couple episodes ago, or several episodes ago, I mentioned something in the pipeline with the Amargosa Opera House. Whatever happened with that? Okay, well, good good on you, Peter, for paying attention. I became friends with the people who run the Amargosa Opera House, and the president of the board of directors wanted me to perform in the theater there, and I was like, oh man, I don't have an act. What would I do? I mean, what am I going to do? Sit on stage and go, hey, y'all, let me tell you some stories. One time I was sleeping in my car and the car alarm went off. I just feel like I'm not at the level yet where I could carry a show in a prestigious theater like that. So I could, though, anytime I want. I'm friends with the people who run it. I mean, I could do a Wonder Hussy meet and greet at the Amargosa Opera House. Would that be fun? I guess that'd be fun. I mean, that's an amazing theater. If you've never heard of the Amargosa Opera House, this eccentric ballerina from New York moved to the desert from New York, and she was dancing on the stage in the theater there, and no one ever came to watch her, so she painted her own audience all over the walls. It's amazing. Very surreal place. And, well, I kind of feel like my Death Valley compound might end up becoming something like that one of these days, because I'm pretty eccentric, and, well, no one's out here watching me, so I might have to, well, I should say 200,000 people are watching me. I guess I don't need to paint my own audience on the walls. And his second question is, if I could have a desert adventure with anybody living, who would it be and why? The first person that came to my mind, and I don't know why, I always thought it would be fun to go, well, two people come to mind. I always thought it'd be cool to go on an adventure with Taylor Swift. I know, like, she's not even an outdoorsy person. I have no idea why I thought that would be fun. She just seems like a cool chick. I have a lot of respect for her songwriting ability. But then I was also thinking it might be kind of fun to go camping with Britney Spears. She seems like she's been through a lot of trauma lately, and she's a country gal, I think she's from Mississippi. She'd probably be down to go have a few beers around a campfire, and I bet she could tell some stories. Now, neither Taylor Swift nor Britney Spears probably has a lot of experience camping, so I'd probably have to be the one that, built the fire and made the Frito pie and poured the champagne. But oh my God, well, maybe both of them. Wouldn't it be fantastic if I went camping with Taylor Swift and Britney Spears? And I showed them both, hey girls, we're going to go camping in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to see that it's not as scary as they make it seem on television. How about that for views? Woo, I'd be at 1 million subscribers in no time. Question from John from Sierra Madre, California. How did I find my Death Valley compound? Was it a real estate ad, word of mouth, drive by and saw a for sale sign? He's curious because he's in the market too. Okay, well, the place I live doesn't have a lot of hardly anything for sale ever. So it was partly word of mouth. The neighbors kind of told me about it because I already knew them from other stuff. And they knew I was a cool person that would fit in here. But then the guy did have this place listed on Zillow. So these properties are out there. You just have to know where to look. Matter of fact, there's a really badass eco farm for sale about 30 miles from here. I don't know if that's something you're looking for because it's a pretty big property and it's a working eco farm. But it's over in Charleston View, and I think there's a bunch of properties for sale over there. So you might check that out. Okay, Roy A wants to know if I've ever dressed in a 1920s costume, if I know how to dance the Charleston, or if I plan on making a short silent video. Oh, I love that idea. I don't have a 20s costume, but I could probably rig something up. I don't know how to dance the Charleston. I'm a horrible dancer, so I wouldn't even want to try. But making a short silent movie would be super fun, like one of those silent melodramas. Thank you for the idea. Okay, here's a great question from Steve. Trying to phrase this in a way you won't take to be prurient interest, but simple idle curiosity. I'd like to know how you feel about bras, since you appear to wear one, at least on camera, and you may be the most free thinker I'm able to ask. So basically, he's listened to a lot of women complain about how uncomfortable bras are, and since I'm obviously okay being at odds with standards regarding my armpits, why do I wear a bra? Well, the answer to that is I'm flat-chested. I don't need to wear a bra. I wear it for convenience, man. I just wear these they're called cami bras, C-A-M-I, like a camisole bra. You get them at Walmart. They're stretchy. There's no wires in them. They don't have a clasp or anything. They're just like a stretchy sports bra type thing you pull on over your head. And the main reason I wear them is so I can keep my money and stuff in them. I use it for storage because there's a lot of empty real estate in there, you know what I mean? So might as well keep my car keys, my whatever. Okay, here's a cool question from Kika. She wants to know what is the most insane email I've ever gotten. She doesn't mean nasty, mean, abusive. She just means funny, weird, out of left field. I've gotten so many. My favorite emails that I get are confessional emails, people who live very normal straight lives will confide some pretty intimate stuff in me. And I guess they feel comfortable doing so because, well, I'm kind of a stranger, so I'm not going to judge them, I guess. B, I guess I come off as very open-minded, which I am. I'll never judge anybody. So I'm not going to say the kinds of emails I've gotten because I also take those people's confidences very seriously. Oh, I guess occasionally I do get emails from people who want to buy my underwear. And I always tell them, oh, no, I'm sorry, I need my underwear. And it's true. John W. wants to know, back in December 2020, I had a copyright strike filed against one of my videos for one of the songs I used in it. Whatever happened with that? Well, the way that it works on YouTube is you can't use any copyrighted music. So if I'm in a bar, or like if I'm trying to shoot videos on the Vegas Strip, there's music playing everywhere. So it's really complicated because you can't include any copyrighted music in your video or you won't be able to monetize it on YouTube, which means you won't be able to put ads on it and make any money off it. So I try to keep all that music out of my videos, but YouTube itself has a bunch of royalty-free music you can use. So all the music you hear in my videos is all from that, except for Michael St. Leon's theme song. So one time I wanted that song, The Entertainer, that Scott Joplin rag, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, I wanted a version of that for a video, and the version they had in the YouTube music library didn't sound right, but I found this really crackly sounding old recording of it on another free music archive website, and so I used that. Well, some attorney filed a copyright claim saying he owned the rights to it, which he didn't, but YouTube allows you to appeal that. And so, well, the downside is if you appeal it and they find that you're wrong, then they can cancel your channel. So you don't want to appeal something unless you're very confident. Which I was pretty confident. I got it on the free music archive. So I appealed it, and fortunately they ruled in my favor, and that attorney was thrown out the window like yesterday's trash. Okay, Garrison wants to know about being self-employed. He's also self-employed. Been so for a few years now. Loves it, loves being his own boss. But he wants to know what the experience has been like for me. What's the good and the bad? Are there any pro tips for being self-employed? He thinks that the downsides of being an employee are continuing to accumulate in the United States. And it's true. I think like working for someone else, I mean, if I think back to like my grandparents, like my grandpa, for example, my mom's dad, he worked his entire career for PG&E, the Pacific Gas and Electric, the utility company. He worked until he was 55. He supported a wife and 6 children. His wife didn't have to work. They all, they weren't rich, but they all got by. And then he retired at 55 with a fat pension, and he went cruising around the world with my grandma. And literally, they cruised all over the place. They were big, or my grandma's still alive, big adventurers. Well, that kind of a life, unfortunately, that doesn't happen anymore, man. Nobody even wants to pay for your health insurance benefits anymore. So being self-employed, it is tough because you're responsible for everything. But because I've been self-employed for so long, I'm already used to all these slings and arrows they keep throwing our way. I've been self-employed. Well, I've had my own health insurance since 2012. Well, I guess I've been self-employed since 2012, yeah. So I've had my own health insurance. I've had to put my own retirement money aside. I've had to pay my own taxes, file my own self-employment taxes, take care of all of that. Fortunately, I'm anal retentive. As a Virgo, I'm a very good bookkeeper, so I keep really good track of all of that. And it wouldn't be easy for everyone. You kind of have to stay on top of things. Budgeting can be a big thing. If you're not getting a paycheck every week, I keep a constant tally running in the back of my head, okay, well, I've been spending a lot of money on gas this month, and I had to buy that, whatever it was, an Oriental rug for the submarine. I'm just very good with money. I'm not a spendthrift, so I keep a kind of a mental tab running in the background, and, I try to balance what's coming in with what's going out, and, if need be, I'll work a little bit harder, put out an extra video. So there's a lot of responsibility involved to being self-employed, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, because like you said, it's great being your own boss. I mean, I've had bosses that I worked for that I won't say hated, but really didn't get along with. This way, well, if I have a problem with the boss, well, all I have to do is look in the mirror. And to be honest, I can kind of be the worst boss of all because I never give myself a break. Okay, here's a question from Dawn in New York. Dawn wants to know if, I don't want to air any dirty laundry on YouTube, but he wants to know if me and somebody that used to be in my videos were dating. And if so, are we still together? He said he liked the guy and liked our chemistry. And so he'd like to see me do more videos with that person again. Oh, if only I was the kind of YouTuber who liked to gossip. Again, I could really fill your gullet with delicious tea. But Dawn, you know what you wrote in your email. I'm gonna say the answer is no, we weren't dating, and no, obviously we're not still together because we weren't dating in the first place. It's a very complicated situation, and you know what? I'll go ahead and file this one for reply to later in private. Here's a really nice question from Mary. Mary wanted to know, why do these haters comment? I guess, I don't know, to be honest, I don't like to read my comments because I have a very fragile sense of self-worth, I guess, and if I read negative comments, it freaks me out, man. So I try not to read my comments too much. But yeah, I know I get negative comments, and that's just the way it is on the internet. You know, people have to say something, they're going to say it. So I just try not to take anything too personally. Occasionally I get mean emails. Oh, I did get some nasty emails recently about looking old and wrinkly. One guy told me it was time to start breaking out the Doris Day filter. Well, that's what I have to say about that. Pardon me, that was really gross. Ranch Rita. Anyway, yes, I do get mean comments. And the guy with the Doris Day comment, I did actually email him back, and I was just honest. I was like, hey, man, why would you say something like that? That's mean. And I think it took him by surprise that I actually emailed him, and we started a dialogue, and, well, it all worked out. So I try to address that stuff, like, head on, because I think a lot of people think they're watching YouTube, and it's just some fake face on a screen. It's not a real person. They don't have feelings, and they're just throwing these comments out into the void. Well, no, it's not. I have feelings. I actually cry a lot. I'm a very sensitive person, too sensitive, and I've been crying way too much lately. I need to stop that because it's just giving me more wrinkles. Okay, now Billy wants to know, why is my passenger side headrest backwards? He has mega OCD. It's funny, like, I never even noticed. It's true. If you look at my videos when I'm driving, the passenger seat headrest is on backwards. I don't know why. I guess I took it off once and put it back on, and I didn't know it was backwards. I'm not a car person. And now several people have emailed me about it. Now I just think it's kind of funny, so I leave it like that on purpose. Oh, and he also wanted to know if I sold or rented my house in Vegas. I'm actually renting it out because I wasn't sure if I'd want to stay in Death Valley forever, and I really liked my house in Vegas. So I kept it, and I'm renting it out. I haven't really made any money off of it yet, even though it's already May, because I had to put money into it for repairs and stuff. But, well, knock wood, one of these days I'll start earning some income. Okay, John B wants to know, how has my YouTube success affected me personally, pro and con? I work too much, I think. My sister says I work too much. I work at least 80 hours a week. I'm always answering emails and responding to stuff online, and anytime I go someplace, I'm always thinking like how I could shoot it as a video, and I don't think that's healthy, really, but maybe it is, because I enjoy shooting videos, and I really, more than the shooting and the being on YouTube, I enjoy sharing stuff with people. I'm one of those people that, it's hard for me to keep a secret, because I want everyone to know how cool something is. Like, hey guys, look at this. So even if I'm trying to enjoy a camping trip with friends at a beautiful place, part of that enjoyment for me is, hey, I want to show all my friends on YouTube about this too. He also wants to know what I listen to while I'm driving all those miles to the middle of nowhere. Well, obviously I listen to a lot of music because I like music, but I listen to a lot of podcasts too. I love listening to podcasts, and usually kind of trashy, gossipy podcasts, true crime. I like this podcast called Trashy Divorces, where these two Southern gals discuss these famous divorces, like Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson. They tell the whole story. It's just mindless stuff, but when you're driving through the desert, sometimes you just want to listen to mindless stuff and not have to think about anything too deep and too heavy. I mean, I do listen to the news too. The BBC World News, just to stay in touch with what's going on in the world, but I don't know, man. I like them cheesy podcasts. Okay, Lisa wants to know, she says she's sometimes afraid for me when I'm out there exploring, and she wants to know if I've ever encountered anything scary when I search abandoned places. Well, I think I mentioned earlier in this video, one time I saw a snake in an abandoned house, but that was really the only scary thing I've ever seen in an abandoned place. So I guess I've been lucky. Okay, Scott wants to know if I have any gear, food, or gadget recommendations for camping. New recommendations for new products. Well, I haven't been camping a lot lately, unfortunately. I'm getting back into that. So I don't have any new products that I would recommend. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm about to get one of those refrigerators that you carry around with you. You plug it into your 12 volt. And I think that could be a game changer, because I have a Yeti cooler, and I really like Yeti coolers, keep food cold really long. But you still have to worry about changing ice and finding block ice, and it can be a pain. So I'm hoping this 12-volt fridge will prove to be something I can travel with. So I'm going to test that out in an upcoming video. Stay tuned for that. He also wants to know if there's any fire starting logs or accelerants I use when I'm trying to stay warm in these cabins. Most of the time I don't even start a fire at the cabin, but if I do, sometimes I use dryer lint to start a fire. That's a really good accelerant. And I've used Doritos, like the chips, they're a good accelerant. But most of the time I just build a fire the old-fashioned way. Little tiny twigs, brush, crumpled up paper, cardboard, bigger and bigger sticks, moving on to logs, and the old-fashioned way. Okay, here's a really, really cool question from Mark in Fort Worth. He says, I'm a queen in their household. So thank you for that. I hope I look appropriately queenly for you. Oh, that's really nice to say. Well, they're from Fort Worth, Texas, and so he wants to know, he loved my video I did down at the hot spring in Big Bend Park down in Texas. He wants to know if there's any more spots in Texas that I'm hoping to visit someday. Well, I've actually made a few videos in Texas. I made one at that Marfa Prada one time, and then I went to the Marfa to check out the Marfa lights. If you've ever heard of the Marfa lights, these mysterious lights that appear in the West Texas desert. So I've done a few videos in Texas. I would definitely like to go back to Texas and shoot. I want to travel around the whole state of Texas. I'm obsessed with Texas, man. Like everything about Texas, like the hair's bigger, the boobs are bigger, the state itself is bigger. Everything about Texas is just over the top, and well, I'm pretty over the top. But I'd actually like to just road trip around and like sleep in my car. There's not a lot of places you can camp for free in Texas, so that would be challenging. But I'd figure it out. I know a lot of those small towns in Texas let you camp in the town park for free. And a lot of time they even have free electrical hookups. So a trip to Texas is definitely in the cards for me. I just want to poke around all these weird... I want to go to Midland, Odessa, the oil country, and see what that... I mean, that must be out of this world. I want to go down over on East Texas, the swampy, piney woods and the bayous. I mean... When I went on that cross-country RV trip I was talking about earlier, we did spend a little bit of time down there. Matter of fact, that was I made a video in, I think, Beaumont, Texas, where the first oil strike in the U.S., the main oil strike that set off the oil boom. I did a video at that little museum there, and then my friend and I camped in our RV in the Piney Woods, somewhere just north of there, and it was friggin' awesome. We went to this barbecue place way back in the woods. There was no cell signal. I was roaming in Texas, but we found our way to this little barbecue joint. I think I made a video about that too. It had the 10 Commandments on the outside, and it was the best barbecue. Oh my God. Just thinking about all this, yes, I do need to get back to Texas, and soon. Probably gonna be too hot this summer, so maybe in the fall. Here's a question from Phyllis, who also wants to know about my skincare routine. She remembered when Bob Wells interviewed me, I had a whole thing full of all my creams and lotions and potions. I don't have them all with me down here, so I can't show you everything, but I already mentioned CeraVe face moisturizer sunscreen, and then I use this Korean eye cream called Sarange. I guess it works. I don't know. I mean, all this stuff. Who knows if it works or not? I use a retinol serum on my chest because I don't want to get that beef jerky look that a lot of women get when we get older. Trying to stave that off as long as I can. And then I use like a beta hydroxy exfoliant, and well, if my acne is really bad, sometimes I'll use just like straight up old-fashioned oxy salicylic acid pads, but those don't really seem to work for me anymore. My acne seems to be changing as I get older, so I just try to like listen to my skin and what it needs, I give it. And so like the salicylic acid seems like it was inflaming it too much, so I backed off on that and I started using the mud packs. That seemed to be working, but well... Okay, Gary wants to know if I ever forgot to hit the record button after I set my camera up to record a portion of a hike. If so, what's the farthest distance I hiked before realizing I forgot to hit the record button? Okay, so when I'm doing a hiking video, a lot of time I'll set the camera up on a tripod and like hike ahead of it so that it looks like, you know, I get that nice B-roll of me hiking and then I have to run back and get the camera. I don't think I've ever forgotten to hit record, ever. But I have done that where it like turns out to be blurry, it's not in focus, or you know, the footage was otherwise unusable, like I was out of frame or something. So yeah, unfortunately, I've never like hiked a crazy long distance and then forgotten to record it, if that's what you're wondering. Okay, Sean wants to know if I've ever considered doing van life, traveling all over the USA, Canada, and Mexico. Yes, I have. It's something I'm still considering now that I moved out here to Death Valley and things are pretty much settled in. I have thought about getting a van, and that's why I was so into that previous question about the Astro van. Some kind of little van that I could travel around longer, greater distances and be comfortable. The only downside is when you get a van, then you're trading off the agility. Like with my 4Runner, I can get anywhere, like up into any squirrely little campsite and be alone. If I'm in a van, then I'm limited. I can only park places where all the other vans are, and well, I won't be able to be as alone. So it's a trade-off, but it's one that I'm considering for sure. So, well, let's just say stay tuned for future developments. Okay, Greg says, with the variety of my content, my superb editing skills, and my interesting and humorous narration, I should have 2 million subscribers by now. He just doesn't get it. What's wrong with these people? To be honest, I think it's because the name of my channel is Wonder Hussy. I know a lot of people have told me they didn't want to even look at my videos because the word hussy was in the title. And so I know I could change the name of my channel and just go by like Wonder Girl Adventures or something like that. But, well, I guess I'm just stubborn and I refuse to pander to the middle-brow taste of middle America, you know. If you're cool enough to follow me despite the word hussy in my name, then by golly, you're cool enough to be one of my followers. And I appreciate all of you for that. But his real question is, with the weather starting to warm up in Death Valley, how is the mini split working? It's working great. We ran it yesterday. Today is supposed to be, I think, 99 degrees, so we might end up running it today too. I'm down here in the basement right now though, and it's probably 99 up top. Let me see what it is down here. It's about 78 degrees down here, plus I have these lights on me making me hot, but I have a little fan running and it's very pleasant. But the mini split, yeah, it's working great. Very glad that we got that. He wants to know what projects in the near future will me and my sister be working on. Well, we're going to try to put up some kind of shade to park under. We need something to park underneath to keep our cars out of the sun. We were going to get a carport, but they have to be rated to such high winds out here that it just got complicated. So we're just going to get some sail shades and affix them. It's complicated. We have this big plan, and if we do it, I'll definitely show it in a video, but we're going to rig up some sailcloth to park under. That's our next project. Okay, B wants to know, how do I sleep in the car without air conditioning or a fan? Well, I just try not to camp any place too hot. I don't have a fan in the car, and I don't run the air conditioner while I sleep. I just, if where I am is hot, I try to find a mountain to drive up and get higher elevation and be cooler, or just not travel to a hot part of the country at a hot time of year. She also wants to know, is sunscreen an issue with hot springs? You don't seem to burn. I'm not really as good about wearing sunscreen as I used to be. I mean, I wear it on my face every day. I'm vain. But on my body, I don't wear sunscreen. I'm part Portuguese a little bit, so I'm able to tan well. That being said, I probably should start wearing sunscreen again because, golly, I don't want to get skin cancer. Okay, here's an email from Frank. He says, my videos all seem to be about 20 minutes long, give or take, typically. How much actual video do I shoot to get it down to 20 minutes? Oh my God. I mean, I try to keep my videos to 20 minutes. A lot of times they're 30 minutes. A lot of the time I end up with like, I have an hour and a half of footage that I have to squeeze down because nobody wants to sit and watch a video like this one that's over 30 minutes long. So it's a struggle because some of the places I go are really interesting and I always have plenty to say. And so, man, it takes at least one full day to edit a video. Editing is very time consuming, but I enjoy it. And he also takes credit for naming my new place The Compound. I guess he was the first one to call it The Compound. Well, thank you, Frank. Okay, Shipwreck Bob wants to know, I guess he enjoyed the video I made with Wandering Jeepsy, how I helped her out, got her some subscribers. I've also helped Jenny from Jenny Gives. I helped Larry from Eminence Front X5. I've done some other collaborations. I've helped people. You know, I'm happy if a YouTuber with way less subscribers than me wants to do a collaboration. Sure! In fact, the guy who just bought the mines over here, Chris, Tacopa Mines, I did a video with him and shared his thing, and now he's got subscribers. I'm happy to do that. I just like collaborating with anyone. So he's saying, am I inundated with YouTubers wanting to hook up and ride my wave of popularity? No, I hardly get any requests to collaborate, and I'll collaborate with just about anyone. So, I mean, if you do have a channel and you're looking to boost your views, I mean, hit me up. If it works out, I'm happy to collaborate with you. And then he wants to know, I guess, what my retirement plans are. Like if I'm putting aside money for retirement. And like I said earlier, yes, I am. I mean, I have to do all that stuff myself because obviously I don't have a 401k. But I'm pretty good with my money. And to be honest, I don't ever plan on retiring. I mean, I'd be bored if I didn't work. I'll be doing something until the day I die. And then finally, he wants to know if I'm going to go meet up with Wandering Gypsy in Moab. Yes, I am for sure. Sometime this summer. I'm not exactly sure yet when, but I definitely plan to go out there and visit her and check out her new campground. Okay, here's a question from Richard L. He said, how would I rank the Vegas hotels in terms of quality, value, and location? Which is my favorite and which would I recommend? And where did I stay on my recent shock repair visit? Well, it's funny you ask. I just had to go into Vegas to get my shocks repaired. It took 3 days. I had to get a room. Well, rather than stay at a casino, I thought it'd be more fun to go on Airbnb and find something. And I found the best, it's got to be the best kept secret in Vegas. I stayed at a place right in the middle of the Strip that was amazing. I really liked it. I'm not going to say too much more about that because I'm making a video about it. I shot a video and it's a cool place, so... Well, Richard, stay tuned for that. As to my favorite hotel, it's Caesar's Palace. I like Circus too. I just like the old, weird, janky stuff. Caesar's Palace is old and weird, but also still pretty classy. So if I could afford to stay anywhere, I'd probably stay in like the Rain Man suite at Caesar's Palace. But I can't afford that. So I stayed at this other unnamed place that turned out to be amazing. So stay tuned for that. Okay, Paul S. wants to know, do I like what I'm doing at the compound? Because I'm showing my creative side, and how's the yellow submarine coming in the bunker? Well, you saw at the beginning of this video, I haven't made any progress really. I'm just getting ready to paint it with I'm going to primer it. And then I decided not to make it a yellow submarine. It's going to be more of a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea thing. So I'm going to go buy some bronze and copper spray paint and try to make it look like it's riveted. And oh my gosh, I don't know when I'll find time to do that, but I am planning on getting started with that soon, because if it's 100 degrees up top, above decks, and it's only, what did I say it was, 80 down here? Plenty comfortable to work down here. Okay, Jay wants to know if I ever thought about covering music festivals. He said, my Burning Man videos were really fun, and he'd love to see my take on some other events out there. I would consider it. I don't really go to music festivals like Coachella or whatever. If I did go to Coachella, my video would probably be pretty snarky, like going around secretly taping all these... Well, never mind. I won't get into it. I'm not a big Coachella fan. I am going to Burning Man this year, and I definitely plan to make at least a video about that. And if I do happen to go to any other festivals... Well, I did make a video about that Let's See Them Aliens festival. I went to that. It didn't turn out to be that big of a festival, but that was a festival, and I did make a video there. I feel like didn't I go to another festival? I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely open to that idea for sure. Okay, wow. Here's a great question from Patrick C. He said, with all my exploring abandoned ghost towns and mining ruins, do I ever contemplate my Death Valley compound appearing in some future YouTube video hosted by some not too distant future robot overlord? So basically, like in the future, some futuristic robot YouTuber would come find this weird, mysterious abandoned compound with all these mannequins in it, and they would wonder what the hell people were doing there. Yes, I do think about that all the time, man. It's funny you mention it. I don't know what they would make of my place, but, well, they might think it was some kind of religious shrine. Oh. He also says I should do a video about Lake Mead disappearing, which is a very good idea. Lake Mead is drying up. All kinds of weird stuff is coming up from the mud. They just found a 55-gallon barrel with a dead body in it from the 1970s. No telling what else is out there. A trip to Lake Mead is definitely in my future. Okay, here's a couple questions from Ben. Ben wants to know, what type of man or woman is my absolute turn on? Well, I'm straight. Sorry to burst your bubble, lesbians. Not that I have anything against lesbians. I think it's just fine. But I'm not attracted to women that way. And I honestly have kind of a low libido. For a time, I thought I might actually be asexual, but I don't think I'm asexual. I just have a low sex drive. It's not as important to me. But I am attracted to men. And, well, I find generally the thing that I find most attractive of a guy is big hair. I don't know. It probably sounds really funky, but like big... crazy hair. I like a guy with big crazy hair. Okay, that can go many different directions. Take it for what you will. I don't know if that's my absolute turn on. A turn on for me, I mean, if I was going to date somebody, it would have to be somebody who was curious and adventurous and like to get out there and poke around. Like somebody who was comfortable just staying at home probably wouldn't be a good fit for me, and I wouldn't be attracted to that person. So, well, if you're curious and adventurous and you have big crazy hair, Call me. Oh, he wants to know if there's any celebrities, sports figures from the past and or present who really cranked my boat. Male or female. Well, it's funny. I don't think I'm a lesbian, but I always thought, like, if I was a lesbian, I would probably date Ellen DeGeneres, or I'd be attracted to Ellen DeGeneres. Something about the cut of her jib. Maybe because she's kind of more of a manly woman. I don't know. She's an attractive lady. I'd go with Ellen. As far as guys, oh my God. If I tell you guys who I think is hot, I'll never hear the end of it. Okay, I'll tell you. But I'm never going to hear the end of it. The number one guy that for some reason I think is super hot and is very interesting to me is Jack Dorsey, the guy who founded Twitter. He sold it and now Elon Musk is buying it, but I don't know. There's just something about him. He went to that same meditation retreat that I did, the Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreat. And he does have big crazy hair. Right now he has a big crazy beard. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's not into camping and all the weird stuff I do, so we probably wouldn't be a good fit, but hey, you asked. Oh, and he also wants to know if there's a way he can see my nude videos anywhere because, well, YouTube doesn't allow any nudity. I've never really posted anything nude on my YouTube channel. Mike and Kit had some stuff on their channel, and then there was this channel called True Nudists. And I'm pretty sure there's some videos I made on their channel still where I'm naked because they used to hire me to like make videos like go to the World Naked Bike Ride and make a video or go to a hot spring and make a video. So if you go to True Nudists YouTube channel, there's probably some naked videos of me up there. Hope that answers your question, Ben. Okay, wow. This question is from Alan C. And this is really interesting because he wants to know if I ever did any videos about the Krupp Ranch in Red Rock Canyon. I just posted a video about that yesterday. He sent me this question yesterday at noon. I posted the video yesterday at like 9 p.m. So just 9 hours later, Alan, your dream came true. How about that? You should have wished to win the lottery. The Krupp Ranch in Red Rock, if you didn't watch my video, I think it's called Living in Red Rock Canyon or something like that. Vera Krupp, this beautiful German baroness. Okay, she was married to Alfred Krupp, who was the head of the Krupp family in Germany. He was a big Nazi sympathizer, made munitions for the Germans in World War II. Kind of a nasty looking dude. Maybe he was a good guy. I don't know. Anyway, this beautiful actress was married to him. She became a baroness. They divorced. I think it's kind of unclear. Whatever the case, he couldn't come to the U.S. because of his history of war crimes. So she came to the U.S. and wanted to get away. She wanted to be alone. So she moved to Red Rock Canyon, just outside Las Vegas. Now, back in those days, Vegas was a much smaller town, so it was out in the middle of nowhere. She lived in this ranch. She had this fabulous diamond ring, the Krupp diamond. It was like the biggest diamond in the world at that time. And there was this, well, go watch the video if you're interested. It's a really interesting story, man. I mean, I can't believe it took me this long to get around to it because Red Rock Canyon is right in my backyard. Okay, here's a really nice email full of congratulations and compliments from, well, there's no name on it. Cappy, Rockin' Ronzo, you know who you are. He wants to know if I might ever travel beyond the western parts of our great land one day. Plenty of adventures await you here on the East Coast. Yes, I know. I mean, I have traveled cross country a couple times and I've shot little videos along the way. But what I'd really like to do, and what I was planning to do this year if gas hadn't gone through the roof, was just take a really long cross country, meander around the USA road trip. Stop here, stop there. Go to every state in the lower 48, and I mean every state, even yours, especially yours, and just, you know, I know there's not a lot of free camping once you get past the Rocky Mountains, but I'll get hotel rooms, motel rooms, whatever. I'll find places to stay. Got some invites here and there, places I can crash. I'd love to do that, and I definitely plan to do that. I just gotta wait till gas gets a little bit cheaper. Panda Zones, who is another local, I think. Yeah, another local, wants to know if I've ever done any videos or exploring in Pioche or Caliente. Okay, those are two towns in eastern Nevada, over on the Utah border. I did a video in Pioche at an abandoned mill early on in my channel that I got a lot of views for that. It was a pretty neat place. Unfortunately, that mill is closed to trespassing now, so you can't go in there. That was the only video I made in Pioche. I know there's a bunch more stuff up in that area, so I definitely plan to go up there. Matter of fact, I was in Caliente not too long ago gassing up, and a local lady stopped me at the gas pump and wanted to take a picture of me because her husband was a big fan, and she invited me to come over to their place anytime. I think she said they had a bunch of wolf dogs, if that sounds familiar to you, if you live in Caliente and you know a lady with a bunch of wolf dogs. Well, apparently her husband watches this channel. If you're watching, hi. Love Caliente. Went there once. It's spelled Caliente, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Caliente because that's how they do it over there. I went and toured a hot spring motel that was for sale there once where Warren Jeffs, the polygamist leader, he used to have mass weddings at this really, frankly, creepy hot spring motel. Me and a friend of mine toured it because he was thinking of buying it. And it was wild, man. I didn't make a video before I had a channel, but super interesting. Oh, here's a great question from Rick. He has a channel called Find Your Alpha, which I'm going to have to check out. He says, in one of my most recent videos, I stated that I'm not married and will not be getting married. So his question is, have I completely sworn off men? Am I a WGTOW, which is women going their own way? If you've ever heard of the MGTOW movement, men going their own way. It's funny you say that, Rick, because I have often called myself a WGTOW. I'm not anti-man. I have so many good male friends and I love men. But I just feel like I'm not a good person to be married to. It wouldn't be pleasant for the man. So I'm not really a WGTOW, like, screw men, I'm going my own way. I just feel like it's easier for me right now. And I haven't been dating anyone. All I'm going to say about that, I feel like I have another question coming up about dating. I haven't really dated anyone. Well, I've dated one person since I started my YouTube channel. Just one. And it ended very, very badly. Like, it gives dumpster fire a whole new meaning. I mean, it was so bad. I'm joking about it, but it was terrible. It was terrible. But I YouTubed along all through the whole thing. And in a way, I think it actually helped me with the process of the breakup. And, even when you break up with somebody toxic and miserable that you shouldn't be with to begin with, well, you had feelings for that person. And so it's still tough, getting over it. And I was inexplicably, it was a really rough breakup for me. In retrospect, I have no idea what I saw in that person to begin with, but well, who can explain these kinds of things? But having to keep my game face on for YouTube actually really helped me through that whole process. So just one more thing to be grateful for YouTube about. And I did often wonder in that whole process, because I'm an oversharer, I thought it might have been really therapeutic for me to talk about what was going on in videos. But like I said earlier, I don't like to air other people's dirty laundry. And so I'm happy to talk about my own shortcomings and failings and bad relationships. But I have to remember another person was involved in all of that. And so I don't want to put them on blast. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So as frustrating as it is not to be able to spill the tea. Oh God, I just love this outfit. This necklace. As frustrating as it was and is not to be able to spill the tea. I mean, really, there's two relationships I've had, one romantic, one not, that went horribly awry in the course of my YouTube career. I'd love to talk about both of them, but I'm a woman of class, so I won't be doing that. Okay, here's an email from Mark. He's got quite a few questions. First, he wants to know, he says, I seem like a caring person towards animals and the environment. Do I plan to make a pet zoo out of my compound? No, because I like to travel, and if I have pets, I can't travel because someone's got to be here to feed and care for the pets. So unfortunately, like I said in my last vlog, I'm not a kind of person who should have pets. I'm just going to appreciate animals from a distance from now on in their natural environment without owning them, okay? I don't want them to own an animal. I just want to coexist in a world with animals where I can watch and appreciate them from afar and, well, hopefully just enjoy them that way. Then he wants to know what my sisters and my plan is after we fix the compound and have air conditioning. Well, once we get this thing running on its own, that'll be about 20 years from now. Actually, this is one of those things where the projects never end, you know? The air conditioning is done. Once we get the parking shade done, well, then I'm going to want to decorate the submarine. And after I decorated the submarine, well, then we might want to build an outdoor hot tub. And after we do that, well, then we might want to build some kind of fabulous entrance gate with mannequins and wings. There's just going to be no end to the projects here, so I'll never get bored. How is Vegas after the face unmasking? Well, I was just in Vegas, like I said, getting my car repaired. It's like COVID never happened. It was just like the old days. Only thing I noticed was it seemed even grosser than before, like a lower class kind of person was there, which that could just be the way the world is now. But walking up and down the strip was pretty grungy. And
no one was wearing masks. He also says, I refrain from asking personal questions, for example, how you go to the bathroom or how often. Well, I already answered that anyways, Mr. Tab. So you know now, I generally, I pee a lot. I mean, I have to pee, in fact, I have to pee right now, so I'm trying to finish this video so I can go upstairs and do that. And then poop generally once a day. Oh, here's that other email. I thought I had another one about dating. When you are dating someone, you never tell us that. Why? Well, it goes back to what I was just saying. I have to respect the privacy of the other person. I mean, think about it from, well, like say I was dating you. You don't want me to put you on blast on YouTube and then like if I break up with you, put that on blast. Like it's personal and it's embarrassing. So out of respect to other people's privacy, I just feel like it's better to leave all that stuff off camera. Now, obviously, if I really shacked up with somebody and we were going to go travel around together in a van, well, then they would probably have to either be comfortable being on YouTube or I would have to stop YouTubing, which would be horrible. I love YouTubing. I mean, is it healthy, though, to love YouTubing more than having a romantic partner? Probably not, but man, if I had to give up YouTubing, it would be a pretty big bummer for me, so... Oh, it's going to take a very special person to break my no marriage vows or whatever. Then he goes, we know that you get funds from YouTube. Do you also get some from Instagram? How do they compare? Well, believe it or not, I don't make any money from Instagram. I know there's a way you can make money from Instagram, but I'm a terrible business person. I mean, I know earlier somebody asked me how much I made and I kind of, oh, you never ask a lady about her money. If I told you guys how much I made, you'd be depressed. I suck at business. I could be making way more money than I am. Way. Like, first of all, my merchandise sucks. I mean, my sister designed some stickers and things for me, but the platform that we're using sucks. I make zero money off merchandise. I don't have a sticker. I suck. I could be so much better at business. I could be making money on Instagram. I could be making money on TikTok. I could be telling everybody to smash that subscribe button at the end of every video, but I don't know. I'm not like that, and I've just sort of come to the realization that it's okay. I'm not rich. I'm not getting rich, and that's okay. I don't need real diamonds when I have fabulous fake diamonds like these. Oh my God, this necklace. Okay, here's the last question, and then I gotta go into town. Oh gosh, I gotta go into town right now and check my mail. Congratulations on hitting 200K. Have I considered doing a video about the Vegas wash? Yes, I have. Thank you for asking. This question came from David. He goes by Outdoors460 on YouTube. I have a whole video planned about the Las Vegas wash. I want to follow the journey of a drop of water as it comes down the wash from Red Rock Canyon, travels through under the strip, through those nasty tunnels where all the poor homeless people live, comes out eventually, goes through those reeds and stuff at the water treatment plant, and then comes out in Lake Mead. I've had that idea for a long time. It's funny that you mention it. I was just waiting for the right time to shoot it, and, well, gosh. Maybe that time is now. Anyway, I gotta go into town and check my mail. The mailbox place closes at 4 and it's already 3:30, so by golly, that means I'm gonna have to wear this evening gown into town because I won't have time to change. Hope you enjoyed watching this 200K video. I didn't drink enough of this ranch Rita to get too drunk to drive, so don't worry about me. I'll be just fine. Cheers!